Muy buenas tardes, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another event, courtesy of our wonderful Latinx Employee Resource Group, Adelante. Please mute your phones if you would. Let's interact via chat. Ted, if you could, that would be fantastic. My name is, like I said, Emilia Cheshvili. I've been with the company for about 15 years, and I am a supply chain manager for DBS or Dish TV. So today I'm honored to present a very special guest that will talk to us about mental fitness and positive intelligence in the workplace. Her name is Shelly Johnson. And Shelly has held executive leadership roles at Fortune 50 companies such as Comcast, Lockheed Martin, Quest Diagnostics, and Honeywell. Shelly lived and worked in Asia and Latin America and is fluent in Spanish. She's a change maker and a positive mental fitness authority that helps people be their best. She's also known for coaching and guiding people to listen to their inner wisdom, take risk, build their bravery, and have the courage to seek their best life. So without further ado, please help me welcome Shelly Johnson.
Hello, Adelante. I hope you're all having a great day. I'm so thrilled to be here with you. And I personally asked for some Pitbull or some Ricky Martin because I have lived in Latin America. I have a degree in Spanish. I lived in Spain. And I absolutely am so thrilled to be here with you today because I really want you to be able to move into 2022 with really strong mental fitness and positive intelligence. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I mean. If you can, as a speaker, it's hard to go for 45 minutes without seeing faces. So if you can, and I do realize this is lunch hour for some of you, put yourself on video. Just let me know that you're out there. Introduce yourself to each other via the chat. And I love participation and interaction. And I hope and absolutely want you to participate throughout this session. So 2 years ago, I transitioned out of Comcast. I was the head of talent acquisition for Comcast Technologies here in Denver. I had a staff in Silicon Valley for Comcast Innovation Labs, Seattle, Washington, Philadelphia, and all throughout the country. And I just felt completely overwhelmed and stressed and stuck because I wasn't being my authentic self. And now I live in Denver, Colorado. I have 2 businesses, and I help soul-inspired high achievers and professionals to amplify their career. And so I hope that you get some nuggets. Get a piece of paper, get a pen out, because this is going to be interactive. It's going to help you to think about how you can flex that mental health muscle and that positive attitude and really lean into who you want to be. So again, my company is called Best You Career Advantage. I'm going to put my contact information in toward the end. I hope that I can hang out with you till then. I have helped over 50 people this year to fast track their career search and get promotions. And my average pay increase for my clients is 32% right now. And I'm a master connector. So I connected with someone in your HR team, and they connected me with Mariani. And here I sit with you today. So who's ready to get started? Who's ready to get going and really help your soul feel more inspired? So you're not just living in here by all of those negative thoughts or that inner critic that you might be used to listening to. So have you ever felt like this? Like, I don't know what's next for me, and you cry and you have stress. I'd like to see some comments. How many of you understand what it's like to feel this way? Or you're just like, I can't take the stress anymore. Overwhelm, disconnection, burnout. If you've ever felt like that, you are not alone. I have too. I'm sure your coworkers through this pandemic have felt like that too. Being a member of a BIPOC and underrepresented community, maybe you have felt like that. Well, it's time to shut that judge up in your head and start to make pivots, start to make changes. And so I'm going to go to the chat and see what kind of, I've been stressed for the challenge. Yep, you're feeling that way, right? So absolutely. Thank you so much for your interaction there. Josh, so lots and lots of stress, and humans are not meant to be disconnected. We're not meant to be in our homes, not together. And so my hope for you is that just like the name of Adelante, that you can move forward to meet your goals so you no longer feel like this. And so let's take a look at what I actually mean by mental fitness. And you notice the words I'm using are not mental health, because so many times mental health has a stigma and a negative connotation. So I use it. If you could please, my co-host, put people on mute, that would be awesome. Thank you. When I'm talking about mental fitness, I'm talking about just like you go to the gym to get physically healthy and you have to do repetitions and be consistent. With mental fitness, which is your capacity to respond to life's challenges. And life can be work, relationships, diet, physical, spiritual, with positive, sage wisdom. And I am going to use some words that I'm going to define here in a minute, but it's really getting you out of that negative mindset of your ancestral ties. Because you grew up in a Latino home, maybe you have some ancestral ties that connect you to an area. If that sounds familiar, put that in the chat also. So what I do as a coach is to help people stop living small and to say yes to themselves. Like, what would it be like to say yes to you? What would it be like to truly dig into your purpose, to have that peace of mind and wellness, and to have healthy relationships? That's what I mean by mental fitness. So how many of you would like to have better peace of mind and wellness, or better peak performance at Dish, so that you can get higher compensation, you can go toward your professional development, and just healthier relationships with your family, your kids, your partner, your significant other, and most importantly, yourself. Because who's with me when I say I am my worst critic? Who's with me on that? I want to see some comments. So 5, 6 of you are saying you agree 100% on that. Okay, so the stuff that I'm talking about here is not just based on woo-woo. It's not just some fun things that are out there. It's really based on science. A combination of positive psychology, cognitive psychology, neuroscience, and performance science. And it's based off of a program called Positive Intelligence, which is by a Stanford professor named Shirzad Chamine. And I'm going to give you the address. It's positiveintelligence.com. I will put all of this in the chat in a bit, but you can actually find out your level of positivity right now. You can find out what your saboteurs are that are sabotaging and hijacking you. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this. But this program and what I'm talking to you about is scientifically proven to change the neural pathways in your brain so that you stop just living from a surviving brain, that you start to lean in and have more curiosity, more observations, to be innovative, navigate life in a different way. So let's talk about what is a saboteur. A saboteur are all those negative thoughts and negative emotion that motivates you through fear, stress, anger, disappointment, shame, insecurity. That inner voice that tells you that you're not good enough, or if you are a Latino or a Latino, that, and you're in an area where there might be white privilege, that your voice doesn't mean enough. Well, I'm here to tell you, I want to fight against that thought. Okay, so how many of you have these thoughts? You lived in fear, like I'm not going good enough. I'm the fear of being incompetent. That for me, it was huge. Nobody's going to want to hear what I have to say. And I applaud those of you who are sitting at your desk, you're putting in things in the chat, and you're showing courageous vulnerability. That's leaning into your arena. Like Brene Brown states, courageous vulnerability is the piece of you that you can absolutely leverage to make a difference. So now when I talk about saboteurs, you're going to know that all of these negative emotions, and I'm going to talk to you about fear, deep-rooted fear, and how I've helped dozens of people to get through that, to have much more vibrant lives, to live with more vigor. And I'm going to talk to you about the sage powers, which is the other side. It's positive emotions like empathy. And this is a big one. We're going to spend a lot of time on empathy, because how many of you can be empathetic to yourself? I'm sorry, to others, but that empathy towards yourself, it's almost non-existent. I'm going to talk to you how about being more creative, more curious with your vision and your purpose. So when I talk about saboteur, it's that piece of the negativity. And when I talk about sage or wisdom, it's those positive emotions that motivate you through empathy, curiosity, creativity, etc. Oh, this is my favorite slide. Not. Every single person, and all 99 of you, have this judge in your head that is the foundation of every thought that you have that may hijack you, that may sabotage you. And so we spend a lot of 2 weeks in this program that I work with my clients on, just learning about how the judge comes up in your life, the discontent that comes along with it. And it's intellectually difficult. But so everything I'm talking about, all of us, each one of us has the judge. And most of my clients name their judge. Do we have a question out there, Mariani or Gus?
No, we do not. Just continue. We will monitor those that unmute themselves. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So each of us has our judge. And so what we want to do is we want to better understand what are the 9 saboteurs that might get in the way, that might dance, do the rumba or the merengue or salsa or flamenco or sevillana or whatever kind of dance that the saboteurs are going to do with your judge. This is the really fun part. So I'm a controller and a hyperachiever and restless. So I have all these styles that state that I'm very independent. I want to go after and go after and go after. And I want to do lots of things in my life. Well, there's an assessment that you can take that I'm going to show you. There's a QR code for that I'm going to provide to you that you can go find out your saboteur. As women, we are pleasers. Sometimes we don't want to have a difficult conversation and we avoid. Or you're hypervigilant and you're like, I'm not going to make that investment until I have this, this, and this. Even though your gut and every part of you is telling you to move forward, you're so in your head that you're rationalizing everything. You're vigilant about everything and you're afraid through that fear to move forward. How many of you are kind of resonating with this and saying, oh yeah, I feel kind of restless. I want to do something different in my life? Or how many of you have that pleasing where you might be feeling like, I don't want to be a doormat anymore. I want to kindly and diplomatically speak my mind. And I want people to know my voice and people to know what I'm thinking, because I have value and I'm worthy. How many of you have had those thoughts that I'm not worthy?
But I think being a pleaser is not worthy, right? Pleaser are also worth it. They have their own value, right? I think. And any of these saboteurs
Yes.
have their own value and they're accounted for. I think the key is to know when to step out of that comfort zone or whatever it is.
That is the key. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. That is exactly what we're going to talk about. But it's hard to step out of that if you don't know how. So thank you
Yes.
so much for those comments. Definitely have struggled with self-worth. Thank you so much, everyone, for your participation in here. All about disrupting autopilot. That is why I'm here. I literally want to take you off of autopilot and help you to make small pivots. So this is the QR code where you can get your results. If you go on positiveintelligence.com, and Mariani and Christy and Emilia and Gustavo, they tried this before and it actually works. So absolutely, we will record this. We will send this out to you, but you'll find out where you are in these results. Okay. Now, we've talked all about the judge and the saboteurs. The sage lives in that part of the brain that's associated with peace and calm and mindfulness and creativity and fun and positive emotions, that operates from your wisdom, from your true listening to your gut. So when I'm talking about the sage, I'm talking about that part of your life and that part of you that's not stopped by your head. You're leaning into it by having more security in who you are and that peace and calm. And it's kind of like having some Zen throughout your day while you're listening to phone calls from Dish clients, while you are working in the supply chain and trying to bring more to Dish customers. You have things that bombard you all day. And through COVID, we had homeschooling. We had so much more stress that the brain literally cannot focus on all of the things that are changing so quickly. All right, so the 5 sage powers are to explore empathy, to get really curious, rather than be so fixated, rational and hypervigilant that you can't move forward, that you are literally stuck and you feel lost, to innovate and to say yes to more things that feel right for you, and to collaborate and to navigate. So we're going to take all of these areas, and I want you to get a pen and paper. I want you to really focus on the next few slides, because this is where it's going to make the most difference for you. And these are where your takeaways come from. Empathy. Empathy for yourself and for others really starts with, how do you focus on that empathy? And I know that this is the most important piece. You want to have more deep connections with La Familia. You want to have more connections with yourself. So how do you do this? The first thing you got to do is put your technology away for 15 minutes and go for a walk and be in nature. And if you're here in Colorado with Dish, you can go walk along Platte River near one of your locations. You can walk around the DTC. You can go and take a walk and get really, really present with where you are. Notice the trees and other things that are around you, and stop this very quick pace and focus on what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what is around you. That is clear laser focus. And you know what? That fear of being who you are, if you feel like you need to go in your car and listen to some Ricky Martin or some Pitbull and like do some Zumba in the car, have fun. Do something different. In 2019, when I left corporate America, I became a Zumba instructor. I teach at Choose Fitness here in Highlands Ranch and in Littleton. And I do it because I want to movement, dance, being free helps you get into how you're feeling, not just being up here. So if you're listening to Maluma or Gloria Estefan or whoever you like, that 15 minutes of just listening to music and really listening to the words is part of how you break out of that hyper rational, hyper focused, stickler, pleaser mindset. Spending time with friends and family and in your community. I mean, what a gift that you have such an amazing, amazing community here with Adelante. I'd like to share a story with you. When I worked at Honeywell, I was the head of staffing for university talent and also the head of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging for aerospace in Tempe, Arizona. So because I'm bilingual, I was very involved with the OLA group, the ERG, and our executive sponsor is Armando Castarena. Armando then moved to the head of HR for Lockheed Martin here in Colorado, space. And when I was looking for a job, I didn't even know Armando was the head of HR for all space, $9 billion unit. And I just started networking. And I met a gentleman who's now the head of workforce planning at Lockheed. And we just clicked really, really well. He said, you're going to have to interview with our head of HR, Armando. And I said, oh my gosh, Armando and I worked together because he was my executive sponsor. I didn't even have to interview with him to get the senior manager at Lockheed Martin because of those relationships. So the community that you have in Adelante, the community that, and the stretch assignments and the professional development that Mariani and Gus and all of your executive sponsors are bringing to you is absolutely priceless. So leverage that network as much as you can. Make sure that you are with your familia because they will give you that empathy. Another thing that you can do to lean into empathy is to go buy yourself a gift. Go buy yourself a journal that you can write your thoughts out on. Go buy yourself a water bottle because all of us need to drink more water. A water bottle that has a saying. Maybe it's si se puede. Maybe it's adelante. Maybe it's whatever resonates for you. Buy yourself a gift that you are doing more with empathy. You are living more into this. So I want you to write down what you're going to do for yourself to allow yourself to have more sage in your life and to increase that empathy. So put it in the chat for me. If you're going to buy yourself a gift, what gift are you going to give yourself? What are you going to do to schedule? So here's another pointer for you. If you schedule a 15-minute walk, if you schedule working out, if you schedule a cooking class or a movie or whatever you feel safe and healthy doing in this pandemic, you're 5 times more likely to do it. So what is that thing that you're going to do for yourself? I'm seeing some things in the chat. Come on, there's 98 of you. I'd like to see lots more in here. Spending time with family and friends, exercising. Awesome. Awesome. Let's see more in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody. Bought a journal several years ago. Okay, time check. Thank you so much. Start going to the gym. These types of commitments do take just that, a commitment. So let's explore a little bit. Let's explore how you, again, start focusing on that sage. I want you to take a screenshot, whatever you need to do of this slide, and answer for yourself, what is the one thing in your work or life where a much deeper understanding or exploration of that issue would bring the biggest possible impact for you? And if you were to explore that issue without fear, without judgment of, oh, I can't do that, or I'm not worthy, or what can that lead you to? Do you want to explore taking a PMP class or Scrum or Agile or Six Sigma? Do you want to explore having a conversation with your boss about taking on a stretch assignment? Do you want to explore more about mental fitness? Do you want to explore playing the guitar and joining a band? What is that exploration doing for you? I saw one of you earlier bought a journal many years ago. Python coding, oh my gosh. Galvanize, General Assembly. There are so many things to explore. Explore how Dish can help you with tuition reimbursement or eating habits. I love that. I have a functional nutritionist rhythm that I can provide to you. Eating habits, coding, I love that. Okay, just spending time with the family, going to the gym, yoga. I mentioned I'm a Zumba instructor, but I also have been getting into yoga lately and I absolutely love it. So what is that one topic that you want to explore more of? I want you to go to your calendar, and in 5 days, I want you to share what exploration you've done. Who is that person that you're going to chat with in 5 days as an accountability partner? Is it your spouse, your partner, your wife, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your kids? Who is that person? Is it your boss? So I want to see some things in the chat about who are you going to share that message with of exploration. What are the issues that you want to explore? I'm seeing some folks in the chat. Thank you so much. Okay, awesome. Your trainer. Okay, perfect. The next piece is innovation. What are you going to do to be more innovative? So how many of you make New Year's resolutions? And then we kind of don't stick with those New Year's resolutions. And then you get down on yourself, and then that survival brain is coming back like, oh, I told you so, you weren't going to stick with that. You're not going to stick with that diet. What if you were to choose one word to determine the kind of shift, pivot that you want to make in 2022 that will amplify and transform how you work, how you perform, how to be more calmer, how to be less stressed? And I want you to pick a word, and it doesn't have to be right now. But if it is coming to you right now, I want you to write that word in the chat. Is it forgiveness? Is there somebody that you need to forgive? Do you need to forgive yourself about something? Do you want to have more joy? Do you want to have more spontaneity and go do that hike? Go do that 14er if you're in Colorado. Do you want to pause? In 2019, my word was pause because I was so mired and wired in this fast pace that I have to do. I'm a pleaser. I have to, that I lost part of who I was. And so my word for the entire year was pause. What's your word? I want you to think about that for a minute. What is your word? We're starting to get some things in the chat. Health, confidence, self-awareness. Wow, declutter. I love that one. Inner calm. Delegation, patience, discipline. Declutter. A good friend of mine used declutter. I want to give you an example of that. It can be decluttering your house, decluttering your garage, but how about decluttering your life? Saying no when asked, that you feel like you have to say yes. No is actually a complete sentence. Let me repeat that. No is actually a complete sentence because so many of us are pleasers and we overextend ourselves. So for the person who put declutter, think about that. Think about how you can declutter. My word is listen for 2022. Listening to my gut when it tells me that I want to lean in to be a career coach for Prospanica, to say yes to working with more underrepresented and BIPOC, especially in the LGBTQ, BIPOC, and women area. To say no if it doesn't feel right. What do you want to say no to? How are you going to listen to your gut more? And what is that word that you have? Thank you so much for all of the participation and interaction so far. So this is how you get more into Sage. So how are you going to take action? How are you going to bring more empathy to yourself and then to others? How are you going to innovate differently and have a more curious conversation with your boss? How are you going to navigate different conversations? What is your one word? That's my challenge to you. Because even though this is going to be recorded and you've spent your lunch hour or an hour with us, the action really is up to you to take action, to take these takeaways and actually put that in your calendar in 5 days about getting into yoga, getting into mindfulness, or whatever you need to do. Honesty, faith. Oh my gosh. One of my mottos is fear versus faith. In 2019, I had so much fear about leaving a very well-paid, very high-level corporate job. And I had to put my stake in the ground and start. If you don't put your stake in the ground, how are you going to start? You've got to get out of your own way. You've got to trust yourself, just like I trusted myself to completely be my authentic self and dance to Pitbull and have fun and be my authentic self with you today. The truth is, you already have this, and everything you're looking for is right there in front of you. And all of these thoughts that are sabotaging and hijacking you are doing just that. In 2020, it was the fall, November last year, I was on the precipice of having to go back to corporate. And I had so much fear about not being able to be the right mom, not being able to be of service to my clients, that there's a spot on my leather couch because of my tears of how much I was crying because I got the leather couch wet, like crying hysterically. I had to go back into trusting myself, leaning into what my vision, my visibility, and my voice is. And I worked with a coach. And in 2021, I've been able to double my business, to help over 50 people, to get much more positive, to have only 2 clients that have not landed. I've had 8 clients land new jobs or career promotions in the past 7 weeks. It's about faith over fear. And I'm not talking about that religious faith, but if you have that, that's amazing. I'm talking about the faith in yourself to not listen to the BS and the poppycock that these messages are saying to you. It's about leaning in differently to life because you've already got this. So I don't know about you, but I love Simone Biles. She made such an impact in 2021. And she says, it doesn't matter where you start. It's where you're going and how you pick yourself back up from those falls. I want you to dream big and then dream bigger. You never know where your dreams will take you. So where are your dreams taking you? The saboteurs that are in your head are stopping you from living your dream. They're stopping you from picking yourself back up. putting a stake in the ground and learning from your mistakes. So it doesn't matter where you're going, you have to start somewhere. Now, this is me. I did El Camino de Santiago in Spain about 7 years ago, and I got a message, a very clear message that I needed to stop surviving and I needed to start thriving. And this is why now that my message to you is you have to amplify your own awesome. It's time to stop surviving and start thriving in order to live the life that you were meant to live and to be, literally be, not do, to be the person that the universe meant for you to be. But that takes hard work. That takes movement and not stagnicity in what you're doing. If you're doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results, you all know that is the definition of insanity. You got to go deep. You got to dance through life with the flow of life. Because if you feel like you have a big boulder, how many of you feel like you have a big boulder that's on you right now that you just want to chip away at, but you don't know how? It's time to remove that boulder and to live differently. This is a picture of me teaching Zumba. You know what? I'm not a young chicken. I'm not some young, really young person. I don't care. What is it that you want to go do? What is it that you want to do to thrive and live in life differently? If you are interested in positive intelligence and what I just did and being like my clients, the positive intelligence program is 6 to 7 weeks. It's an hour video. It's per week. And it's a community, just like what you have in Adelante, of people who are like-minded. It's a community of very confidential, professional, soul-inspired folks and professionals that are done living in just a thriving way. So I'm going to give you some information. If you're interested in it, please go to my website and just fill out an interest form. I would love to have you in one of my pods. And I have worked with people from Dish. I have worked with a lot of corporate, because I know what it's like to be stuck and I know what it's like to get out of it. And I know that you can absolutely make a much bigger impression and really support the community that Dish gives you and the wonderful atmosphere and corporate culture. So please let me know if you might be interested in that. You remember those babies we started with? I don't want you to feel like that anymore. I want you to feel like Simone Biles, the gold Olympian. I want you to be happy every single day and to enjoy your life and to thrive and to be confident in who you are and clear and to increase and amplify your voice, your vision, your value, and your visibility, so that that ripple effect comes for you professionally, personally, spiritually, emotionally, health-wise, in every single way. Because as humans, we all live in a very duality or multiple. We are not just one thing. We are not a stereotype. You are not tied by the cords of the ancestors of who you came from. You can live a different life. So I would love to connect with all of you. You can actually go out to my website and get a step-by-step guide to amplifying your career. It has questions in there on what is your vision? What is your mental fitness? What are the strategies and tactics that we will use to amplify your awesome? So please subscribe to get the guide. I'm going to put some information in there in a bit. And I'd love to connect with all of you. I do specialize in working with women, BIPOC, and underrepresented professionals. And I have led DEIB and been on the Inclusion Council for Lockheed Martin. I absolutely love this topic. And I'm so thankful to Adelante for inviting me to share my message with you today. I'm going to turn it back over for some messages from your sponsors.
Thank you, Shelley. So we just want to remind you of any upcoming events. And sorry, we missed a slide there.
Yes, we did. Just 1
There's
second. Okay, I should have had that plan better. Okay,
that's okay.
there we go. Ahí está.
Gracias. All right. Well, we want to remind you, we're not showing the slide, but Gentified season 2
really?
is on Netflix. And wanted to remind all of you, if you have a chance, please get to see that show. It's actually very funny. So, all right, for upcoming events, we have How to Be a Boss with our CIO, Attila Tinnick, on November 18th. Please be sure to attend. It'll be very interesting. And then we have on December 16th, Win at Wireless or Anything with Fernando Torres Vidal from our wireless group. He's a VP of Product Development. And also wanted to remind all of you, all the members, that there are leadership options and positions open. You have to be a member to self-nominate or nominate others. So please go ahead and become a member if you're not, and you know, take that step. Become executive for Adelante. All right, next slide. All right, and just remember, only with you we can move Adelante with Dish. And we're going to do our traditional call to action at the count of 3. You can all unmute yourselves, and I promise nobody will mute you again. And we can chant our Adelante call to action. So 1, 2, 3.
Adelante.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, please reach out to the team. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope this was a good, enlightening, seminar for you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presence.
Shelley, yeah, Shelley, hit the next slide and then hit enter. Thank you.
There we go. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bless them when there ain't no stress, and this one is straight for the girl them.